Hi everyone, in example 5, again we're doing pretty much the same thing, except this time I want to show you how you can start from factored form by writing your equation from the graph, which then vertex form will be really easy to find, and then from standard form, remember you can either solve by simplifying down your factored form or vertex form, so it's really up to you. Well, I say let's get started. So, in factored form, don't forget the way that you find your two factors is by flipping the signs on your zeros, your x-intercepts, which in my picture, I already have my x-intercepts marked. They are at the points -2, 0, and 4, 0. So, my zeros are where x equals -2 and x equals 4. Okay, so all I need for factored form, I need the a and then the two parentheses with the x's. So I have y equals, well, currently I don't know a. I do know my graph is facing down, so it has a maximum, which means it's a sad graph, which means a is going to be a negative number when we get done if we did it right. Okay, so I don't know a right now, so I'm just going to leave a as a. And I'm going to have two parentheses that contain x's. And all I got to do is flip the sign. So -2 will transform into a +2, and +4 will transform into a -4. Okay, so like last time, the way that you find a, well, you need to identify a point on the graph that aren't the current points that you were using, which are the zeros. So I can't use the zeros. Just like when we did vertex form, I couldn't use the vertex point because I already used that in my equation for the h and k. So this time, since I used the x-intercepts, or the zeros, to build my equation, I can't use those. So the only other point that's really easy for me to find on my graph is the vertex point. Okay, so I'm going to use the vertex point. This will be my x and y value in my equation, and I'm going to use that to solve for a. Alright, so the point on my graph I'm going to use is the 1, 9. So the point is 1, 9. Okay, and we're going to replace the x and y in my current equation with the 1 and the 9, and then I'll only be down to one variable, which will be really easy for me to solve. Okay, well, let's get started. So I spot a y. So my y is going to transform into a 9. Okay, so y will become a 9. So 9 will equal a, which I still don't know what a is, times I spot an x, so my x will transform into the 1. Transform. Gotta do the hand motions. Alright, and then I have a +2. And then in my other parenthesis, I have another x. So I'm going to replace that x also with a 1. So it'll be 1 and then -4. And then from here, I just need to solve for a. Okay, so I have 9 equals a, which again, I'm solving for. All right, I'm going to simplify down these parentheses. 1 + 2 is 3. And 1 - 4 is -3. All right, so I have 9 equals a times 3 times -3, which is -9. So you could write it as a times -9. I'm actually going to rewrite this as -9a. Okay, and then from here I just solve for a, which the way that I bring -9 to the other side, well, the -9 and the a are secretly multiplying, so the way I bring -9 over is by dividing it on both sides, which -9 divided by -9 will cancel and turn to 1. 9 divided by -9 is -1, so a is -1. Yay! So I know my a value, so now I just need to replace the a in my factor form, and then I'll be done with factored form. Look at that. So you have y equals a, which is -1. So you can write -1, or you could just put a negative sign. Means the same thing. All right, then parenthesis x + 2 times x - 4. And look at that. We have factored form. Okay, so now it's going to be really easy to find the vertex form of a quadratic equation. So remember, the vertex form, all we need is the a, h, and k value. If we know a, h, and k, then we're golden. We can build our equation. Okay, which I do know the h and k value because I know what the vertex point is on the graph. The vertex point is at 1, 9. And the only other thing I need is the a value, which we just found the a value from factored form. The a value is -1. So now I just need to fill in all the missing pieces, and then we're done with vertex form. So we have a, which is -1, times x. Now don't forget h, we got to flip the sign. So since it's +1 in my point, in my equation, it will be a -1 squared. And then the k, I'm just going to bring on down, which is a 9. So there you go, you guys. We have vertex form right now. Alright, and then the last thing we need to find is standard form. So again, standard form you can't get from your graph. Okay, so standard form, you're going to have to simplify down your two equations to get to standard form. So again, you can either choose to use factored form or vertex form. I'm not going to show you both ways this time because I did that for you last time. So you pick, do you prefer starting from vertex form or you prefer starting from factored form? And then from there, you can find standard form. Okay, so for me, it's really hard to decide which one to start from because they're both pretty awesome. But I think I'm going to choose factored form. To me, factored form is a lot faster, so I'm going to start from factored form. Okay, so factored form is y equals -1 times x plus 2 times x minus 4. Okay, all right, well, let's start solving again. I like to do the two parentheses first and then deal with the -1 later. Again, you can distribute the -1 to the first parentheses. Just be careful. Don't keep distributing after that. Okay, so I'm going to start here. I'm going to multiply the x to both terms in the second parenthesis. So x times x will be x squared. So we have -1 times x squared. And then we have x times -4 is -4x. All right, and then I'm going to do the same thing with the 2. 2 times x is positive 2x. And 2 times -4 is -8. All right, and again, before I distribute the -1 through, I like to combine my like terms first. I'm going to do that first. Okay, which if we're looking here, the only two terms that are like terms are, you guys said it, the -4x and the positive 2x. So I'll need to combine those. Otherwise, I can just bring on down the x squared and the -8. So -4x plus 2x is -2x. All right, and the final step will be to distribute the -1 through, and then we'll be done. Okay, so we have y equals -1 times x squared is -x squared. -1 times 2x is positive 2x. And -1 times -8 is positive 8. So there you go, you guys. Again, if you want to check yourself, a good way to check yourself, you could solve using vertex form as well and see if you end up with the same thing. Okay, but again, you don't have to do that. Again, I chose to start with factored form because in my opinion, it's a little faster. If you would like me to show you how to solve from vertex form to factored form, vertex form to standard form, just let me know and I'll help you solve it out. But again, you should end up with the same thing. So guess what, you guys? We have found all three forms of our quadratic equation. Look at that. Wasn't it a blast? Absolutely it was.